Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world, and welcome once again to another Thursday night live stream with a home in Italy. My name's David Benton, and together with my wife Silvana, for the last can't remember how many years, but certainly way over 15. We've been helping people buy, restore, and move to beautiful Italy, and in particular, this incredible region, Abruzzo, that we're talking about tonight. So, welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. If you're new to the Thursday night streams, then where have you been? But welcome anyway, and hopefully you're going to join us every Thursday. We try and do these where possible every single Thursday at the same time. So, tonight's subject, we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is Abruzzo, this incredible region of central Italy. So I want to speak a little bit tonight about where to potentially invest, where to live, just give you a few insights onto the area, how it works, and where, in my opinion, you should be starting your searches, because it is a fantastic place and well worth well worth having a look all the way around. But I'm going to try and pinpoint a few areas for you tonight. For those of you who've seen this particular webinar before, it's going to be slightly different. I've got a few little extra photographs and that kind of thing thrown in, and we've got a bonus as well. For the bonus tonight is I'm actually going to give you people a glimpse into I'm only going to show you little teaser pictures for the next 3 YouTube videos. So there you go. Look at the value on tonight's video that you're getting. It's only going to be a little teaser, so don't be getting too excited. YouTube is absolutely going crazy and fantastic. And Tony's putting, have you seen how quick he changes these? I always say to Tony, when you put these messages up, because I don't like to try and read some of them. Tony, by the way, is the producer that's in internet land. And now he's going to leave this one on forever. I know he is. But, hi, Cheryl. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, he's the one in internet land. And I said to him, leave the questions on a little bit longer, because he's just flashing and flick, and that's because he's drinking wonderful China Abruzzo. You'll get a few of those in the evening. For those of you that it is the first time, then yes, that's him. That's him in the background. Okay, what was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh, by the way, yes, just because last week somebody actually I got a complaint. Somebody actually contacted me and said to me that how can you expect people to get into your Thursday night things when you don't start the subject until 15 minutes into it? It was a bit of a nasty email. So from the bottom of my heart to that person, you can always watch something else, because that's me. Now, I do like anybody that is watching for the first time, or not watching for the first time, watching a recording, then feel free to fast forward the first 10 minutes or so, because I do like to talk about whatever. And I also like to see some of these, what some of these people are saying as well that are joining in. So you can fast forward for 10, 15 minutes and feel free to watch tonight's subject. So there you go. Roger's really looking forward to the tour in October. And so am I, Roger. I'm going to talk about that for a second now. Any of you that have booked onto the tour for October, I sent emails out the other day with a few little instructions on there. So if you haven't seen them, then look in your spam boxes, look everywhere else. I've just written a few questions on there that I need answering. So that's if you can just have a quick look at that. We've got Eric. Hello, David and family. Hi, Eric. Eric is, if it's the right Eric, I'm sure it is out here at the moment, looking at places, and quite like Sulmona, I think, and quite rightly so. Anyway, let's talk about what's happening next week and the week after, and then I'll tell you something about the tours in a second. So next week, I can't believe next week is the last one of September. Unbelievable. And we're going to finish on Meet the Home Buyers. Now, there's a possibility that we're having 2 people on Meet the Home Buyers. Spoke to one today, and he is definitely up for it. And there's a potential to have somebody else coming in that's going to possibly talk about the investment side as well. Haven't yet spoken to him, so I hope he's watching tonight. If he is, he'll know exactly who I'm talking about. So yeah, that should be a great one. That's next Thursday at the same time, and then we're into October. Can you believe that? We're into October. So that'll be a whole new program, October, with a few different ones thrown in there, some more Meet the Home Buyers and everything else. Katie's saying there's always a party pooper. There is, isn't there? There's always some miserable people. We like to have a little chat for the first 10 or 15 minutes. And also it makes my life easy because I can only manage to write enough scripts down for about 45 minutes, but that's not for anybody to know. Anyway, the other, what's that? Ciao from a very rainy knot. Hi, Ali. Resorting to wine and Haribos. That's a bit of a strange wine and Haribos. There you go. Each to their own, I suppose. I hope it's Cheraswolo, Ali. I'm sure it will be. Okay. Let's have a quick greetings from Texas. Want to be in a place that has not a devastating earthquake damage or potential. Is it even possible? I love your 15-minute opening monologue. Okay, so we do get a lot of this with people talking about earthquakes. I'm just going to briefly say something about this. Italy is seismic. You know, somebody said to me the other day, they actually wrote it on YouTube, and they said, everything you show, the reason why the houses are cheap is because in seismic areas, it's had loads of earthquakes and loads of deaths. When? Now, earthquakes, unfortunately, do cause problems in places. Of course they do. Do people realize how historical Italy is? I'm not saying for 1 minute that Abruzzo, like anywhere else in Italy, other than Sardinia, but anywhere else in Italy is seismic. I don't know if any of you heard the other day that there was an earthquake north of where was it, Tony? Florence. 55. So people now don't bother going to Florence anymore. The Duomo must have gone. Everything must have gone. These things are unfortunate freaks of nature that are rare occasions. And where I live right on the mountainside. So I live in what they call a red zone. If you spend too much time thinking about it, would you buy a house? If you're going to think too much about it, you wouldn't. When I see castles and churches hung off the edge of the mountainside, like what we've got near here, and they have been for however long, when I see a church in neighboring Faro San Martino that was built in 1044, that's before the Battle of Hastings, then I will take my chances. I'm not being ignorant to that. I'm certainly not being ignorant of that, because people all over the world that suffer from earthquakes, terrible, terrible things. But if it really, really gets to you, you shouldn't look in Italy at all. And why people pinpoint Abruzzo and think that that's why it's cheap, they've absolutely no idea what they're talking about. It's just something that you have to have in your own mind, whether or not that really bothers you enough. Okay, so I've done that. Let's Julie. Dave watched A Place in the Sun, and Joe and her husband mentioned how much you helped them as they looked at properties. Looking forward to using your services. This is true. I've been twice on a place, or mentioned twice or three times now on A Place in the Sun. Yes, so there you go. And I didn't tell you, Tony, I actually got recognized in Sulmona the other day. I was shocked. Tony's laughing. I could see a little screen down. He's like, but I didn't tell you earlier, Tony. I was actually recognized. You know something? I used to be in a band when I was younger. I'm really going off subject now, aren't I? And I always thought I'm going to be famous, and we did lots of great things. Nearly got a record contract, nearly being as far away as you possibly could be from but for us, we were nearly there. And I thought to myself, one day, and it happened the other day in Sulmona. A young couple walking past, and the lady said, "I know you," and there you go. Just thought I'd share that with you. So if you see me hanging around the streets when you're here, then come up and say something, because it just helps with keep my ego up there. Isn't it? It's a good story when you're in the bar and things like that. Anyway, A Home in Italy on the Road 2024. Those of you that don't know what they are, these are our group tours that we do. If you go onto our website, which is, Tony's already put the thing there, look, www.ahomeiniitaly.com. Click on tours and you'll see all about it there. There's a PDF there that tells you all about it. Fantastic couple of days. We host them because when people come out here viewing properties outside of these tours, I can't always guarantee that I'm available. Domenico tends was my colleague in Sulmona, tends to take the vast majority of people around, and he is fantastic. But these tours, it's looked at that I'm there, Tony's there, Domenico's there, my wife Silvana's there, and these are really great tours. What I will say is January is almost booked. I'm saying almost. I'm changing the way this is done. You're going to be able to pay as soon as you fill out the forms, because a few people have filled out the forms, blocked the spaces, but not yet paid the deposit. Unfortunately, after the weekend, all the invoices that have been raised for those people are all going to be cancelled again soon. They're going to be cancelled, and it will just be whoever books first because we can't keep these spaces open. I'm just in the middle of changing the website for it to allow to do this. But I will say January is almost full. March, there's about four seats available. May is still fine. May's quite a way off. I'm also going to be putting extra dates on for the autumn as well. We're considering doing another one in May. I was going to do it in June, but June can get quite hot. So we're considering doing a second one in May, and then it will start again September and probably end of October and probably November. So, but I'll let you know about that as things go. They are superb. Go onto the website and have a look at those. Okay, I think that's all the notices. Video channel, as I said before, thank you so much, all the support you're getting. We are going to get to the point where we're putting 2 videos on a week, and we're going to be doing some different types of content. I've even bought myself, I bought myself a new toy. Look, brilliant little drone. I can't wait to get out and use that. I've already got a drone, but yeah, this one's quite a Tony's putting that I've got more than one. I haven't. I've got one, Tony, just one drone, and this one's a little bit easier to use, I think, than the other one, because you need about 8 arms with cameras and all that kind of stuff with the other one. So I'm looking forward to getting out and doing some of that. We're going to be doing some great footage as soon as we have the time to do it. We're going to be doing. And like I said, today I'm going to give you some sneaky little, just a sneaky little glimpse at some, especially this Saturday. This Saturday's property is just going to be, well, not going to be, it is a fantastic one. Okay, 11 minutes. Apologies to that person for last week, but I've gone from 15 minutes down to 11 minutes. And now we're going to start the subject. Are we ready? Are we all sat comfortably with wine in hand for some people and cappuccinos for other people? Okay, let us begin. 12 minutes now. I only did that on purpose. Anyway. Okay, so Tony, I'm going to put my chat thing on as well, just so I can have a quick look. What's Cheryl writing there? Watch out for those church steeples. Dave Benton has a drone. I'm going to go off subject. And Tony's laughing because he knows what, but there is a great story, which I will tell you one day, of me and Tony in a place called Filetto. And it was a horrible, it's a good laugh. I'll tell you another day, because that person, I'm on 12 minutes. And anyway, okay, let's get started. Abruzzo. Today, I want to talk a little bit about sort of, as I've said before, about places to potentially invest, where to live, where to holiday, that kind of thing. Because the 3 things are completely different. And I know it sounds like me just telling you something that's obvious, we know that. But lots of people don't treat it in such a way, because if people are looking for investment, I believe personally that Abruzzo is ripe for investment, because I've seen what's happened in 18 years. I've seen when I first started doing this, where nobody had heard of Abruzzo, to now. Since COVID, I've seen a whole new thing and a whole new group of people that's coming out, mainly from the US, that I've never seen in the 18 years that I've been doing it. So I don't know if it's obviously some of the things that we're doing and publicizing. I'm not going to put the rise of property sales down to these Thursday nights. I want to take a little bit of glory for that, but there's obviously lots of publicity going off around the world, and quite rightly so, because here is when people talk about undiscovered, when people talk about great investment opportunity, they're all here. Everything's here. It's no longer undiscovered, but it's in the early stages of being discovered. And now is the time. Now is the time, if you're looking for investment, to jump in there. Because for me, it is a fantastic investment. Not necessarily for buying, holding it on for a year and selling. Because there's a good few houses out there. You know, people have looked on website. There's a good few houses out there. So there should, like any other region. But look at the price differences. Look at some of the price differences from some areas to, I mean, we're talking huge price differences here, huge. Even with our neighboring La Marche, which has dropped off a little bit. I know a couple of agents up there that said that since Abruzzo took off, La Marche came down a little bit. When Abruzzo was just starting to move, that's when the credit crunch, not the credit crunch, whatever happened, it was when we just moved out here. Everything just seemed to be going crazy in the world. And it sort of put a hold on Abruzzo. But what happened in that period, and I believe this to be true, is the areas such as La Marche and such as Umbria that had started going up, they were all on the tails of Tuscany, trying to get a piece of that. Umbria being right there next to Tuscany, but without the coast, and La Marche having the coast similar to Abruzzo and sort of next. And these are beautiful areas, don't get me wrong, but they suddenly boomed. And I say, I know two agents and I know one very well in La Marche, and he told me what was happening with the boom, and especially from North Europeans as well, because they found it easy to drive down this way. And what happened then, unfortunately, was all this that happened in the world. And all of a sudden, the pound to euro crashed. Everything seemed to be crashing, and the investment, the Brits suddenly dried up in La Marche, and out of the ashes almost of what was going off in the world, Abruzzo was still there, and it didn't go down at all. I was seeing people trying to sell stuff in La Marche that were having to give heavy discounts, not because it's a horrible zone, it's a fantastic zone, but it had gone to that peak, and then when all this happened, it just dropped, and people weren't buying there, and they were looking for places where they wanted to come to Italy. Where can I go next to try and find those bargains? And people came to Abruzzo. And Molise, the next zone down, so that's between us and Puglia, because Puglia is crazy prices. I love Puglia, don't get me wrong. I love some of the towns in Puglia. We go down there often. I personally wouldn't live there because it doesn't have the services that we have here in Abruzzo. It's not as clean. I love the town. I love the holiday thing. But for me, Abruzzo has the countryside, has a bit of everything. Molise, well, I think was kind of hoping that Abruzzo would take off in a huge way, like La Marche, and then Molise would become the budget buddy, if you like. And it sort of has. But because of what happened in the world crisis, the Abruzzo market seemed to just steady away and rising, but not the same as places were doing before the crunch. But for me, that was better, and that's ideal for you. So when we were looking for a property here, we had a budget. I think we had a budget of around about 70k when we were looking originally. And what I look at now, what we wanted, what our needs were then compared to now, it's we couldn't get that. We just wouldn't be able to buy it now. And I've seen what's happened with my own. I've been part of it. What's happened in the last 18 years, and like I say, in the last couple of years, from the unfortunate things of that horrible disease that I'm not going to talk about, but from the C word, again, it's changed, and the amount of investment coming in from the States is unbelievable. And Canadians are itching to go, but unfortunately, Canadians at the minute can't buy in Italy because of the restrictions that their government, or your government, if you're from Canada, put on foreign buyers in Canada. So you can't buy it until, I think it's supposed to run out January 2025, I think it is. So it's not that long now for that to happen. And it's sort of, they're chomping at the bit to come out here. So it's going to increase even more. You know, you can just see what's happening and you can feel what's happening. And Abruzzo deserves it. Then you get sort of, so when you look at investment, first of all, investment for me, you know, you have to look at a different type of house to what you potentially will buy for yourself. And I'm going to give you a few hints on places where I personally would look at, and where I personally have seen and helped people invest who are now getting the benefits from that. So I've seen it and got the t-shirt, so to speak. So I was saying before, it's not necessarily an investment to buy and sell within a year or so, but to buy and rent and to use it as a holiday home and all that kind of thing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And then as the years pass, it will then come in where people are going to make the money on the properties just by sitting on for a while. That will come. That will naturally come. And when you get these people that, for some reason, like to troll sites and throw negatives in, I don't laugh at those people, but I just think, you know, you don't know what's happening here. You don't see what's happening here. You don't see what an incredible area it is. All you can put into your mind is, I don't know about that, so it must not be true what he's saying. So I'm just going to give my 10 pence worth that is worth nothing. You know, and that's what I see of it. And that's what, because I'm here on the ground. Obviously, my job is to be involved to help you to buy properties here. So of course I'm going to promote the area, but I'm living and working here and seeing it, and have relationships with clients, with clients all the time. And I know how to. I know what I'm saying is true. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sat here and have the great clients that we do. Julie's got a great point. It's harder now for Brits to move and live as we would like to retire. That I agree. The Brexit thing was an absolute joke, in my opinion. I'm not getting political, but put the Brits back in the mix again, and it's already gone crazy with people from the States. Get the Canadians in. When the UK finally changes the government, there's half a chance something that may happen, because to me, it's got to happen. And when the Brits start again, I don't know what's going to happen, because I'll be honest with you, in the past, I've done this now, it's got to be 17 and a half, probably maybe even 18 years now. And we were all Brits. It was 90% Brits, 10% everybody else. Since Brexit, it's completely flipped on its head. I would say it's now 90% US and 10% Brits, because of that reason, because you can't retire here. It's very difficult to get a visa, and the pensions in the UK are not fantastic, believe it or not, for people outside of the UK. And it's quite a big ask to try and get the kind of visa requirements. If that changes, it's going to go even crazy. It's already mad now, but I just can't believe what's happened with people from the States. Pescara Airport is going to be expanding, and there's going to be flights into the States. They said, well, I don't know how long it's going to take. They're now putting the works up for tender to extend the runway. They're talking about Asia as well. It's a great place, but the best thing about all of this, so if you're not interested in investment, you just want a better life, for me, you just can't beat it as a lifestyle. There's lots of video channels I've seen at the moment from areas outside of Abruzzo, and as a lot of people know, I love all of it. It's all fantastic. Let's be honest, it's all brilliant. I just think Abruzzo's got something else. And when I watch some of these channels, there's one in particular that's quite a successful channel, talking about a certain area. I'm not going to mention the area, but then talking about some of the dangers, or talking about some of the things that's going on, and you think to yourself, you know, what's happening here? What's because I may have the rose-tinted glasses on for Abruzzo, but having been here for such a long time, I'm quite happy to wear these, to be honest with you. I'll stick with my rose-tinted glasses, because I see what it's like here. And I would say to any of you, even if you're looking outside of Abruzzo, wherever you're looking, next time you come to Italy, come down here, come and have a look, or come up there, depending where you're looking. Because it is fantastic. And what I want to do today is just do a few little introductions. I am going to show you a few photographs. There are a few new ones. And I just want to talk to you about the place and all the rest of it. So as I was saying, as far as I'll quickly touch on investment. When I talk to you about the kind of areas that I would personally look in, that is because I think for investment, there's things to do, places to see, and all the rest of it. You're going to find out tonight where I think the best places are. If you're coming to live, that all depends on your needs, obviously, because some of you may be quite happy to be remote, quite happy to be in places where there's lots of villages where there's not much in them, because you just want that slower pace. Maybe some villages that are dying off, maybe they got very little. So some people are quite happy with that. At the end of the day, these places are not going to completely die off. Italy's much stronger than that. Much stronger than that. Barbara's on. Look, it's Barbara did the move from Texas. She came here on her own. I never heard of Abruzzo until I saw your webinars. When I came out here, I really love the area. I'm glad I bought my house here. Barbara lives just across the valley from me. And in fact, she was on one of our Meet the Home Buyers. She did it on her own, came out here. And I'm so grateful that she has now introduced hot sauce direct from Texas to my kitchen. Thank you, Barbara. Anyway, so yeah, as far as investment, I'm going to tell you some of the places where I think, because you need to have that bit more. If you are looking for, or you don't mind being in places where maybe the villages don't have much, as I was saying, then there is another area for that. I'm going to go through that as well. But you need to be honest with yourselves. You need to be, because some people will say, no, I just want to be in the countryside. I want to be in peace and quiet in the countryside. What's your version of peace and quiet in the countryside? How far do you need to be from the nearest good-sized supermarket? Do you need to have a hospital nearby? Do you need public transport? That's a massive one now. Public transport in the past was never an issue. Never an issue. Because the Brits would come out, hire cars, do whatever. When they came to retire here, they'd swap the license over. No problem. We were part of the EU. So you were just moving from one place to another. with the amount of Americans coming out now wanting public transport, you need to be honest and say, do I need that? Because that restricts where you need to look. I'm going to help you with that tonight to understand where that is. The important thing is when you're speaking to agents, maybe you're remote buying, it's unbelievable how many people are remote buying. You need to make sure these people are telling you the truth, because some people will say, like everyone knows I live in Palombaro. You could say, yes, Palombaro has a bus service. It does have a bus service. It takes my kids to school, or my daughter's in university now. It takes my son to school in the morning and brings him back from school later. It's a public bus, so you can jump on that bus with no problem at all. So you need to have the kind of relationship with your agent or whoever you're dealing with. When I ask if there's a bus service and they say, yes, there is, what kind of bus service? Because for me, if you live where I live, I could not rely on public transport. You could get around, but it would be difficult. Because my kid, let's say there's 2 buses pass directly outside my door, which considering where I live is fantastic. And they pass by, one at 7 o'clock and one at 7:30. They come back, one at 2 o'clock, one at 3 o'clock. That's it. Then on the top row, there's maybe another one that goes somewhere else and then comes back so you're talking 1 in the morning, 1 at dinner time. If public transport is a big thing for you, make it clear to these people. Don't just say, yes, there's a bus service. What kind of bus service? You need to ask these questions because it's a huge thing. Because as I say, you could not get around. In my opinion, it would be very, very difficult in my area. And I would just rather say that to people. But I do know there are there's somebody that got in touch with me recently. They said that they wanted to buy a property near to here. They've been in touch with an agent here. The agent had said that there was a good bus service. And I said, I'm really sorry, but no, that's not true. That is not true. You need to have that kind of relationship where you're getting the truth out of people. Then you've got the people that is holiday home. Again, a holiday home is something completely different to a forever home, completely different. So you really need to understand what's important to you. But one piece of big advice I will give to you is don't just think you're going to go to one place, because lots of people will say, I just want to be able to get there, go to a bar, do this. And I understand, I get that. The beauty of Abruzzo is moving around. There's no one place where you'd say, that town. Everybody knows I love Sulmona. I do love Sulmona. But Abruzzo is not all about Sulmona. Not at all. I just love that. Amongst many other places and many other experiences that Abruzzo gives me. Today, I went to see some people that are buying a property next week. And they asked me, what is your favorite place to go to? Because they're here for the week. What is your favorite place or my favorite place? I didn't know how to answer them. In fact, I think I must have brushed over the question. So apologies if you're watching. Because it's too difficult. It depends what kind of experience I want. And whether I want to. Every Sunday we tend to go somewhere as a family. We've done that all the time and continue to do that because it's the only real day we get off, because my son goes to school on a Saturday. So we use Sunday. But then you think to yourself, well, do I want to go in the mountains? Do I want to go up to the ski resorts and get some, especially when it's boiling hot? Do I want to go down to the beach? Do I want to go to see some vineyards? Do I want to go to... There is so many experiences that you can have here. So just choosing one place and thinking you're only going to go there is a little bit sort of short-sighted, dare I say. So don't worry if you don't choose... I'm going to say Sulmona again, but let's say if you don't choose Sulmona, you choose a village outside of, because you want that village you feel, but you want to be close to things. That's when you can start narrowing the area down, if these things are important. How close do I want to be? Patricia says it's like trying to pick a favorite wine. It is. It is like that. How close do you want? You see lots of people say, I want to be as close as possible to Pescara. And I'll say, have you ever been to Pescara? No. Why do you know that you need to? Because in that area, it can be quite a little bit industrial. Pescara is great for the cafe bars, and the rest of it's got no old town. Unfortunately, it was completely bombed in the war. And this is why you need to find out a little bit more about places. And I know at the moment, most of you have only got the web and things like that to give you sources of this information. But it's so important to understand more how Abruzzo works. And it's the same when people talk about where is everybody? People. I did a video last week. I don't know if you saw the townhouse that we did in Raiano. I just had a little walk around the town. You hear cars going past all the time. You see a few people on the street, not a lot of people on the street, but that's because people are working. It was mid-morning. People are working. People are at school. These are not areas where you come into real life. In August time, it will be packed full of people. There'll be festas and all the rest of it. In the normal times, it's normal things that are going off. People of a certain age will be at work. People of a certain age will walk through the streets and go to the shops. Young kids will be at school, and so on and so on. And you think to yourself, what is it that you're looking for if all you look at when you see these videos is empty streets? Because we went to a place called Orvieto for the first time, and it was in August. It was in August. Orvieto is a town a little bit further north of Rome. Beautiful place. When we went into the town, I couldn't believe how quiet it was. I was walking through it, and I said to my wife, Orvieto is such a big tourist place. I felt like doing a video and then putting it on and saying, where is everybody? It was just the time of the day. It's just the way it is. That people live here. These small villages that have bars and shops and things like that. Patricia's saying she loves Orvieto. I'll tell you what, Patricia, next time, just a quick one, go to, oh God, what's it called? Tarquinia, which is north of Rome. What a place that is. Really surprised. We stopped there before we went to Sardinia because it's near to Civitavecchia to get the ferry. Put that down, anybody that wants to visit a place. Come to Abruzzo and buy in Abruzzo, obviously. But if you need to go outside of Abruzzo, Tarquinia, what a great place. What a superb place. I'm trying to get a contact there because I really, really like it. But yeah, so that's the important thing to remember. These places are not dying off. Some of them will have had maybe have only got 200 inhabitants in them, but you still get a bar, you still get a post office, you still get this kind of thing. They're not going anywhere soon. It's not that they're going to be disappear and then bulldozed. It's not like that. Patricia saying, can you spell it? Tarquinia is Tarquinia. Tarquinia. Great place. Not in Abruzzo, though. So, and I'll tell you what got me thinking as well the other day. I was thinking, because I always try to think of ways I can explain to people this thing with the, something like, that's it. Like that. Is that how I spelled it? Can't remember. Anyway, that's how to spell it. Brilliant place. Not a huge place, but a great place. Yesterday I met up with my geometer Emilio. And so from my house to get to Rocca Morice, I've got 2 ways around. And I thought, I'm going to go up and over the mountain. I'm going to go up and over the ski resort. And this is, once you're up and coming down the other mountainside, this was my commute, so to speak. And the photograph's not actually that great because you can't explain what you see here on the left because there's the higher mountains on the left. But the way I go up to this place from a place called Pretoro and then head up to the mountains through the ski resorts and start to head down to Rocca Morice, I did not see a soul. There was no cars, nobody. So I've come from my house or our house, driven through a ski resort. Obviously, there's no skiing at the minute, obviously. Done all these in unbelievable scenery. And I'm enjoying it all for myself. I wound the windows down and I just thought, you know what? Some people can look at this and say, this is typical of Abruzzo. There's nobody there. And that's why things are cheap. How wrong are you? Because this place was heaving not that long ago, as it does, because you get tourists and everything else. And then it's going to be heaving again in wintertime. And what that means is that people come to Abruzzo, they spend their money, they love it, they talk fantastic about it because everybody does. And even Italians that come out of the area and come to Abruzzo, they're blown away by it. Then they leave us to it. And it's left for us to enjoy in its raw state. And it is fantastic. Now's the best time because you can stop your car up there and you just think, where else in the world can I have this? And you look round and you can see, you're looking down at the sea, and all these towns and villages are all packed full of people. There's bars, there's restaurants everywhere and all the rest of it. And they're all not necessarily all in the town centers. The best restaurants are always in the countryside in Abruzzo, always. And you can't explain what that gives to your life, how different that is. And when you've been I went to Sardinia recently, loved it. Oh my God, the place was so full. Absolutely everywhere you went. And do they know how to charge? Fair enough. It's a great place. I love the place. We're going to be advertising properties there soon as well. But it's just something when you want something a bit more genuine, when you want something that you're not going to be bored of in 2 or 3 years' time, this is where you come because you just, I don't know. Ray saying, hi from Malta. Currently, many Maltese buying properties in Sicily. I've been following your channel. Abruzzo seems to be much more up our street. Any interest from Maltese for Abruzzo properties? Yes, Ray. Strangely enough, you said that. I'm not going to say loads, but in the last couple of months, there was like half a dozen or so, which is really strange. I know it's only 6, but coming from Malta, obviously I'm not the only person here that's involved in property. It'd be interesting to see everybody else. A bit of a peak for something like that because I've never known it, to be honest with you. So yeah, so that's my thought on Abruzzo is it's just the experiences that it gives you. I'm going to share a few photographs. I'm going to do a little bit of map work. I've got my let me just see. Hopefully, so here's the map. I've gone onto this map now because this looks a little bit better than the one I was using before. Let me change my pen color because it's going to be a little bit mixing with the other one. Okay, here we go. So obviously Pescara, where the airport is and things like that, is here. Rome is over this side. Yeah, there's a motorway that runs right in the middle, which is this one, and that goes all the way to Rome. So Rome to Pescara, great public transport links. I would say a bus rather than the train, purely because the train goes, unless you've got time, the train goes up and over the mountains, and yeah, it stops at quite a few places. Whereas a bus, you'll get there in, I think it's about 2 hours 20. It costs you a ridiculous amount. It's so cheap. So some more pointers. I always split Abruzzo up. I've done this on another one of these my Abruzzo things, and I split Abruzzo up in this way. So I'm going to start it from the sea so you can see me, so you can see the line. This is a main road here that at the moment dips into Molise, which is where I've stopped now, but they're spending billions and making an incredible job for it to carry on without dips into Molise, but it's going to be a super fast road to Castel del Sangro. You've got the #1 ski resort here, which is Roccaraso, and then this carries on to Naples. Okay, so I split it up there. Then I split up this section that goes to Rome that I've already said. And then I split roundabout, not quite where this main road is in the top, but I would say, well, yeah, not far off actually. Then I would say this section. Then I would say that this part here I'm going to go from here down to my favorite, Sulmona. I like to split it up like this. This is how I split Abruzzo. This being the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So where do I think that you should be looking? Let's give you a few facts here. This map is not a detailed map, as you can see. The blue line is not a road, it's the border. Okay. Now you can see here the main road where I've started this first one. It's a straight road. I live, just so you know, around about here. So I've got Casoli close by. So even though I'm right on the Maiale National Park, which is all this green area here, hopefully you can see my marker. I don't know if I can make this any bigger? No, I can't. That's as big as it goes. Let me just see this. No, that's as big as it goes. So yeah, so this is where I live. Now, if you look here, there's one road here that runs from the coast up to me, and this road that runs to the coast and veers off at Casoli and up to me. Or up to where I live, not up to me. Then you have this road here that goes to Penne. I'm sure some of you have heard of Penne, Loreto, Apretino, these areas. Some of you are going to have heard of Atri. These are the main roads, and up here at this side near to Teramo. What you find then, let me just delete some of these things, otherwise it'll get too confusing. Let's go for this area to area. I'm going to talk about this area first. And the reason why I'm going to talk about this area is this is the cheapest part of Abruzzo. So from this line, so bear in mind, I say I live here. This part here is the cheapest part of Abruzzo. That's just a fact. You know, the reason for it is some of the villages are dying off a little bit. And I hate doing this because I've said this before, giving unjust, I shouldn't talk bad about anywhere, but I'm trying to tell you why some regions, some parts of the region are much cheaper than others. So GC is a nice town. There's places like Rocca Spinalvetti, Carunchio, which I'm just sorry, I just don't get. Rocca Spinalvetti, there's one near to there that I always forget the name of it. It begins with P. Completely forgot the name, but anyway, it's going to come to me. No, it's going. San Buono, places like that. Tony's got this look on his face. He's going to write something down now and tell me what it is. And the towns are okay. You know, as you're driving past, Palmoli, that's it. Well done, Tony. These are all popular places. What you will notice here is, look how much white space there is here. And that's because it's not that there's no roads, but they're extremely small roads. So all of these places are linked up, and it does take a bit of getting round. I know in the same breath you could say, well, where you live, Dave, in this area, there's only these roads here, and there's lots of white space here. This is all the vineyard areas up here, all vineyards and that kind of thing. And that is road. But I've got these fast roads to get me around, and I can easily get to the national park. If you like the mountains, if you love these spectacular mountain backdrops and some of the dramatic scenery, you can see here in the green areas where those national parks are. This is the Gran Sasso National Park. This is the Maiella National Park. I obviously love the Maiella National Park. This road that goes around, oh, sorry, Tony's saying that nobody can see. Sorry, this is the National Park of the Maiella. This is the Gran Sasso. This road that goes all the way around the national park and down to Sulmona and back this way and coming there is just incredible. You could have a camper van, or you could just get whatever and just have you could do it in a day, but to have a few days doing that is just fantastic. Then you have places like the Gran Sasso, which is up this way. It's fantastic to see the Gran Sasso up close and personal is something really special. Then you get lots of these areas in the middle here, where you get some of the castles that's up on the Rocca Calascio and places like that, some spectacular places. Then you get places like Sulmona that everybody knows that I love. You've got another national park of Abruzzo here, and you've got Lake Scano, you've got all of these sorts of areas. They're all fantastic places. And as you'll see, what I'm talking about tends to be this middle area of Abruzzo. And that's because, in my opinion, these are the best areas. And it is only my opinion. I'm not saying don't go to the south, definitely not, because this southern area here is one of the most popular places to buy. The hot spots are this area, and but we have to look at the reasons why. The reasons why is because the properties are fantastic value, and obviously it's a great place as well. But that's where, you know, if you are hard with a budget, I would say go to those areas, but also look at the others just to see if you can find some places in other areas that's still cheap, because you still got some great bargains. But that's a hotspot area. Another hotspot area is where I live, the Casoli area. I'm going to say up to Guardiagrel, Faro San Martino, Palombaro, all of these areas. This is a hotspot area. Another hotspot area is around Penne, Loreto Aprutino, this sort of area up here. There's also Vicente, which is a little bit sort of further, but these are the hotspots. And then obviously Sulmona and part of the Val di Peligna. So looking at hotspots, in my opinion, and I'm going to say for overseas buyers, these are the hotspots. And there's a reason for this. Lutz is saying, how about Colle di Mezzo? Colle di Mezzo is a great place. Colle di Mezzo is around about here, this sort of place. The good thing about Colle di Mezzo is you're on this fast road then that takes you to the coast, and you are close to other things. You've got this great road that runs past that, even though it's a small village, you've got easy access to other villages. These are the hotspots. The Chieti region, which is roughly sort of this, is the most popular. Oh, you got a face there, look. Is the most popular out of all of the regions. There's been a couple of studies on that for overseas buyers as a whole region. But they're facts. But for me, the reason why this part is a hotspot is because it's the prices are lower, which is fine, absolutely fine. Vasto, which is here, is probably the best coastal resort out of them all, in my opinion. So it does have some things going for it. But your big places are Vasto, places like Vasto. Then you've got the Trabocchi coastline. I'm going to show you that in a second, that runs on this part of the coastline. whereas this part of the coastline is completely different. But here you've got places like Lanciano, Casoli, Guardia Grel, superb places. Chieti, which for me beats Pescara because Chieti is still the original old cities. Then you've got places like Manopello, you've got Rocca Morice that's in here with some incredible places in the national parks. Then you've got Sulmona, everybody knows. You've got the main ski resort, Roccaraso. You've got Pacentro, which I'm going to show you some details of, which is here. All these places are all amazing places, heading then even towards Aquila and all of these areas. Then you've got Loreto Apretino, Penne. But look where we're concentrating, where I'm saying all of these things, and that's where they are. That's why somebody Maps is actually saying something good there. Where would be the best place to look for agricultural places? It depends. Again, I've had different people come looking for different types of what they like to look at. If you like looking at vineyards, etc., then I would say this part here. But I would also say, where this is white, I would also say this area here. So, the agriculture, obviously, as you get close to the mountains, it's more olive trees and things like that. And it's the same when you go around to Sulmona side. You do have some vineyards around Vittorito and these sorts of places. But I would say if you're looking for low-lying agricultural, then I'd probably say in these sorts of areas, and definitely in this area here, in this kind of area, because they've got beautiful backdrops of the mountains and low-lying sort of rolling hills. Where's the best public transportation in these hotspots? Right, this is a great question. So let's tell you that now, because that's an important thing to look at before I start showing you loads of photographs. So trains tend to run where the motorway. What's wrong, Tony? Why are you putting your hands up? He always scares me when he does that. It's almost like I'm doing something wrong. He's saying that he couldn't hear me. Hopefully everybody can hear me, but if you've got a problem, let me know. Okay, and then a train line runs then from Pescara inlet. So that's where your main train lines run. Then you have, in Sulmona, which is here, you have a train line that runs then to Raiano and that runs up into the mountains behind Raiano. It's incredible where this thing goes. And then it goes to Aquila and links those places up. And then you've got some that carry on here that can go towards Rome. So the best places for public transport, if we're talking about trains, would be following the line of this motorway and around the Sulmona areas and these areas, and then running along the coast. And I would say it's very similar for people for buses as well. But obviously, buses go a little bit further, a little bit different areas than trains do. So for buses, for instance, in Casoli, where I am, I'm in Palombaro, but here there's a good bus service. But here in Palombaro, I'm so close, but I'd have to drop down and come up the other side of the mountain to get to Casoli. So I can't. You could walk it, but it would take a while. So Casoli has lots of public transport, and so does Guardia Grel. But then in the middle, you've got this area right where I live that's got absolutely spectacular scenery, but less of public transport. You do get some that runs on this main road here into them, but it just sort of misses some of these areas out. Whereas, I mean, public transport, you can say GC's got public transport. All of these, Penne, Loreto, Apretino, they should all have buses because you're all around the Pescara sort of basin, if you like. And then running along this motorway and all around the Val di Peligna, excellent for public transport. But again, you just need to see some of the areas. You need to ask these agents. I want to know if it's not just public transport for kids, not just public transport for schools. Does it have public transport outside of that? Because that's such an important thing to ask. It really is. I want to show you a few photographs now because I've had a few little sneak peeks. And I probably shouldn't have waffled on for 12 minutes in the start, and then I would have had time. Anyway, I can sense somebody saying that. Let me just get past this map. Okay, I was telling you the difference about the coastline in Abruzzo. This is a huge difference from the coastline. Let me go back to my map again, because the area from, I get mixed up with my pen. From here, Pescara, no, I'm going to say from here, just north of Ortona, upwards is completely different to here, southwards. This, for me, by far, is the most picturesque of the coastline. But there's great places here as well. Pineto is really nice. Pescara is very busy. Montesilvano is very busy. They're all very busy. But I would say Pineto is a high thing up here. The great thing is if you buy in any of these areas, and you can easily just dart to any of them that you want. Now I'm going to show you the difference between these two coastlines. So we have, this is north of Pescara. So you've got that. You've got this is actually Pineto. On the left, you can see the pine trees and things that back onto the beach. This is a beautiful golden sandy beach. As you can see, it's quite regimented. It's the umbrella after umbrella, and it is still beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It is beautiful. It's just different to the lower parts of the coast. This is Vasto. So this, if you remember, is right down at the bottom of Abruzzo. In fact, the last part of Abruzzo is here, which is a place called San Salvo, because here is Termoli, which is in Molise, and I don't know if you can make out the mountains here in the background. You probably can't, but that is the Gargano. That is the Gargano National Park, so in Puglia, which is also a beautiful place if you like beaches. So this is Vasto, so you can see straight away it does still have the regimented beaches, but it also has coves and everything else, and then you get much more greenery, and you've got the really nice town of Vasto up on the hill, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm stood in the town looking down over the bay. Brilliant place to go to. And even though I live sort of further away, it's easy to get to. Vasto is lovely, but there's a part of the coast just south of Ortona that was truly awful. South of Ortona, surprised at that. North of Ortona, I agree with. Because that's getting towards Pescara, but south of Ortona has some incredible. There's one called Ripari di Giobbe. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I don't know if I've got a photograph of that. That is an incredible place. Okay, then we have the Trabocchi coastline. So the Trabocchi, these are ancient fishing vessels that are now restaurants. These are absolutely stunning, and these you find on the Trabocchi coastline, which is, let me get rid of this. It runs from Ortona, or just south of Ortona, down to Vasto. So this is the famous Trabocchi coastline, and it also has a cycling path and things like that, and that runs along the old railway, and it's that is incredible. So I'm not sure where that other person, where you were south of Ortona. I'd love to hear that, because south of Ortona is when it starts to get. I don't like north of Ortona because I think it gets too close to Pescara and all the rest of it. This is the Trabocchi coastline near to Fossa Cesia. This is Tony's throwing his hands up because he always goes to that bar that's just up there on the left. This cycle path is fantastic, and it's used all year round. This used to be the old railway line, and this is what it's like now. And this goes on for it's going to do the full length of Abruzzo, but this part is the most picturesque part of the coastline. And here's his favorite bar. This is where you'll see Tony spending most of his days in here. But again, these bars are quite new. These have been popping up. I don't know if you can see this person here on his bike. This is because the pathway runs right alongside this, and then you've just got, if you can see this, a Trabocchi that's there. But there's loads of these new bars and restaurants that have only been, they started going just before Cope, just before the dreaded sea, and unfortunately it blocked so many of these new bars coming. But now they're back up and running again, and they're going. It's fantastic. It's a really great part of the and this again is the Trabocchi coastline. This is why I was questioning where the guy had been to, because this is Ortona is here. Maybe it was I don't know if it was the beach of Ortona that you've gone to, because Ortona is a working dockyard. So you can just see it here at the end. So maybe it was the small beach that's just there. But once you get past that, the coastline is absolutely fantastic. So this is San Vito, this part here, San Vito Chiatino. Ortona is this at the top. And then you have the Trabocchi coastline. You can just see, make out the bottom. This is where that cycle path goes. Then obviously this is a Trabocchi. This one hasn't got a restaurant on it, I don't think, but there's loads of them as you're going down the coastline, and they're all absolutely superb. You can see them dotted around. There's one up there. There's a couple on the piers. They're just brilliant places to be. Then Meg saying we did that bike path in April and stopped at the bar. It was great, very picturesque. It is. And then for half an hour inland, this is the kind of scenery where I live. This is Palombaro, so you can see the town running along here with the mountains in the background. These are where you get some of the stunning, really dramatic scenery. So if you want the dramatic scenery, then you do have to head towards the bigger mountains. And even though we live, I'm going to show you a photograph almost of where we live. We live just to the right of this picture. And it looks like we may be remote, but we're not at all. We dropped down out of Palombaro. We've got Casio, we've got Faro San Martino, we've got Guardia Grelle. It's all on our doorstep. We're half an hour from the coast. We're 45 minutes from the ski resorts, and so on and so on. So you're not remote in these places. That's why I'm saying don't discount them. You need to come and see them. So we live, this is actually a house that we sold. I don't know why the photograph's so that color, but there you go. I actually live, can't quite see my house, but it's sort of there. So I live at the foot of the Maella mountain range, and here is the ski resort. I'm only about half an hour away from the coast, and there's a walkway here in Pennapiedimonte that I'm going to show you in a second. It's a bit lower than that. It's absolutely stunning. But this is the kind of thing, the scenery we have here. Lutz is saying, do you organize tours to show properties? Yes, we do. You can come and see properties from our website at any time by contacting us, or if you go onto the website, which is homeinitaly.com, and click on tours, you can see all about that as well. This, I wanted to throw this in. This is the kind of thing that we do. This is not my house. These are neighbors of ours that we put a swimming pool in for them. This was a typical August day that I wanted to share. This was actually 15th of August was Festa Day, and this is if you just want to see here, it looks like it's a villa in the middle of nowhere and all that. It's not, but you get that feeling when you're in the garden. I love this type of feeling. And this is looking from the opposite side to the swimming pool with the famous arrosticini, which is lamb skewer. Well, it's not lamb; it's actually mutton. This is an incredible dish in Abruzzo. It's one of the prides of Abruzzo. But just in this at the top part here, you can't quite make it out, but that's actually the sea. There's like a blue line that runs here. And that's how close we are. And this is the kind of scene. I just wanted to share some of these with you. Now, I want to give you a little sneak peek of a video I'm going to be doing soon. Look at the time, but I wanted to show you this one. This house is brilliant. This is just up the road from where I live and just up the road from the photograph I've just taken. A little bit cloudy, detached house. I think there's about 4 beds, if I remember rightly. Josh is saying he's hungry. I know they are so good, Josh. They're so good. This is going to be brilliant. This video is probably going to be next week. It's a stone house. It's basic habitable inside. Look at the view. So this is Palombaro here. And then you've got Carsoli in the background here. This is just up the road. You could be my neighbor. This is a great place. But again, public transport. You can't rely on public transport. So this is a sneak peek into the next video. But just look at this is the window frame here. Just imagine looking out of that window. So again, you can see Palombaro. You've got Carsoli there, just past Carsoli, and here you've got a main road that takes you straight down to the coast. It's so easy to get around, but you do need a car in this area, definitely. So that's a sneak peek of one that's coming up soon, and that's going to be going on for €95,000, so less than 100,000. Just keep an eye out for that one because that's a brilliant one. This is Carsoli, so this is the next town on from us. Beautiful hilltop town, markets there, and all the rest of it. So again, we're 10 minutes from these places. So even though where I live, if somebody dropped you in by a helicopter, you'd be thinking, "Oh my word, where am I?" But 5-10 minutes, there's always something around. And here you can just see the mass of the ski resort, Passo Lanciano ski resort in the back. Then we have places like Faro San Martino that I've mentioned. Great, but this is the home of Di Cecco pasta. Again, it looks like you're way up in the mountains. You are from one side, but then from the other, you're on your way to the beach. Half an hour, 40 minutes, you're down there. Faro San Martino is where, because I think I mentioned last week, did I mention that I was starting a diet again? So my son dragged me to play tennis. This is not my son. This is somebody else that was on the court before us. I was kind of hoping they'd be there all the time, but they went. Look at this for scenery. This is in Faro San Martino. We do normal things in the mountains because people say, well, what do you do up there? There must be nothing there. We have normal things around us. And look at that for a tennis court. I know I don't look like I'm built for tennis, but I still managed to thrash my 16-year-old son. Thank God I've got a good serve, because I would have no chance. But just look at the scenery. Unbelievable. Let's flip through some of these. I know we've hit the hour, and apologies. This is what I was telling you about, a walkway that's near to us called Balzolo in Penepiedimonte. Again, this is Palombaro, just here. I live round about here-ish. And this is something that we just, you drive up to. At the end, you go through a tunnel here, and then there's a fantastic bar at the end. You start in the bar, you do this little bit of a walk, and then you go back to the bar. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. This is why, as much as the south part is nice and the bargain properties that's down there, but come and look at the bargain properties, because you'll still find them in other places. But this is what you're missing. This is Civitella Messeraimondo, Lexi and Craig from Meet the Home Buyers. I'm sure those of you who've been watching for a long time, they bought a house here. And here, I'm going to let you into a little secret here as well, because this is a great place. This is right next to Faro San Martino, which is just down and over into the dip down here. Palombaro is just off to the right, and Castle is behind us. But there's where I'm stood taking this picture is a little, what we call frazione, a little hamlet of Civitella, where I'm going to give you a sneak preview of a property that I showed you with a lake view that's going on for 19,000. So talking about bargains, 19,000 euros. I'm going to give you a quick sneak, because this I'm probably going to put on next week. Not this one. This is Lexi and Craig's house. We've just put a swimming pool in for them. Look at that for a view. What an amazing view. Anyway, this is the sneak peek one. Look at this. Look at this for a terrace with the view of Lake Carsoli. It's in a little hamlet that, yes, there's not many people living in that hamlet. I will admit that. It was one of those places where it was buzzing with people before, and now obviously there's less residents there, but these places start to fill up. But the great thing is you're not isolated, because you're 5 minutes outside the main town. From here, there's a brilliant restaurant on the Lake of Carsoli, which is this. The restaurant's just to the left here. And then you're 10 minutes drive from Carsoli. You're half an hour to the coast. You're half an hour to 40 minutes away from Roccaraso. 19,000 euros. And the house is actually in decent order. Don't tell anybody I'm giving you these sneak peeks. So this is the house here. Yes, it's not it's not a huge mansion. 19,000 euros. So it has this part. The roof's in good condition as well. So it's this part here, but it also has a room underneath next door's house. Katie's saying we need another Lexi and Craig update. That's going to be coming soon. This is inside. I do love this. When I said, just make sure the house is ready for when I come to take the photographs, and they're leaving boxes here and old bits of furniture here. But this place is in superb condition. So this is like a kitchen dining room. You go through this door, there's what could be a bedroom, or it could be a living room with a pull-down bed. Upstairs, bathroom, bedroom. Downstairs, you have a cantina to put storage. You go out of those double doors. There's a terrace on I think it's upstairs off the bathroom. There's a balcony off that with those amazing lake views. Unbelievable. It's just outside Civitella Messeraimondo, Patricia. Anyway, this has given me an idea while I've done this. I'm going to move on to the other photographs now, because I'm conscious of the time, that I'm thinking about doing this sort of webinar. If you guys are up for it, let me know. Let me know in the comments. I'll read them later, where I do pick out a few properties, some new ones coming, some that's on the website that's still for sale, some video properties, and giving you sort of a bit of a run through. If you think that's a good idea for future things, let me know, because I am considering doing that. Okay, let's run through another few pictures. This is Manopello. Manopello is now going around I'm going to take you back to the map. Sorry for flicking through like this. I'm going to show you a few properties, a few places in these sorts of areas just here. Okay, so the ones I've just shown you around these areas. So I'm now going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you, obviously, wouldn't be the same if I didn't show you Sulmona, and then show you Katie. Katie. Sorry, that's Katie. This is Katie. Okay, so let me get back to that picture. Hate flicking through like this. Okay, so this is Manopello. This is Leto Manopello. Look at the backdrops that you've got here. These are the real high mountain ranges. But then you've got this town here of Leto Manopello. You drive down this way and you're down onto the motorway. Takes nothing. So you look at these, you think, oh, is that too remote? No, go and see them. Go and look at these places. Then we have going further. This is in Leto Manopello looking out. So you've got the big mountains behind you, rolling countryside in front of you. This is Rocca Moricia. I always show this photograph because people say, well, nobody lived there. If nobody lives there, how does this bar and the other two that's behind me survive? This was actually a boiling day. It was unbelievable, the heat coming off the street this day. I remember it well. And if you just look here, there's already one or two people. The bars were packed because it was just so hot outside. Everybody just dove into the bars. This little town, Rocca Moricia, is great. This is where my where Emidio, my geometer is. The slight downside to Rocca Moricia, for some reason, they do ask for quite a lot for the properties. I'm working on people in there to try and get them to lower it down. But I'm going to do a video of a great detached property we've got there. Again, this is Rocca Moricia. This is where Stan and Sharon from the also being on Meet the Home Buyers. They bought here, and there's 2 or 3 Americans that have bought here really recently. And these are some of the snowfields up here. But again, you go in the opposite direction, and you're heading down to the mountains and things like that. So you get to the mountains, to the motorway. So you get the snowy backdrop on the high peaks, but it doesn't come down often into the towns. I wish it would do more. So lots of people are saying, love that idea about doing property. I'm going to do that. I'll do that in October, definitely, because there's some properties that's been overlooked because people keep looking at the new ones and not looking at some of the old ones, and they are amazing. Diamond Dave said that he was bummed to see 292 Blue Home in Vittorito sold. To be honest with you, Dave, most of the properties that go on the videos, a lot of them get snapped up really quick. This is in Rocca Moricia. This is in the middle of the mountains. This is Santo Spirito. We're talking over 1,000 years of story built into a mountainside. And this, you can actually sleep. It's actually part of it. It's a B&B now. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we go. Sulmona. Tony, can you just move we're coming to my favorite. Sulmona I just love. Again, look at the backdrop, look at the backdrop of the mountains and that kind of thing. Just brilliant. But having said all of that, all these areas are great. I don't even live here. You know, I'm talking about, I love where I live as well. That's why you need to come on these tours, because we cover these places. You have a good look at all of these places. This I took the other day. I was with Domenico doing another video for another great apartment that needs to be and I've done the video. That's going to be published soon. Tony, can you just put that there was a question there about, so are these proper ski resorts with cable cars? Yes, definitely, of course they are. Look at Roccaraso on the internet. They've all got ski. Again, people think, but because it's cheap. Cheryl's saying Vittorito, best bar in Abruzzo. It is a great. There's 2 there, Cheryl. I don't know if you've been to. There's 2 of them. There's one in the middle, but the other one's great as well, just off the main square. Cheryl's got a fantastic apartment. Yeah, so these are the ski resorts are brilliant. I think again, people think it's a cheap area. It's this, it's that. Maybe there's some downsides to it. Maybe you've got to come, and then you'll understand. Have I got another? I think I've got another sneak. Oh, yeah, I've got a Saturday sneak peek. So hold on for a few minutes. This, again, is Sulmona. This was taken from a roof terrace of a place we sold in the centre of Sulmona that was unbelievable. What a view. Just look at that from view. And here you have the beautiful town of Pacentro as well, which next week's Meet the Home Buyer, Pete, or otherwise known as Pacentro Pete. He's got Pacentro Pete, that we're now going to call him. He comes up with these. He's told me today that because his visa's not quite going through, he's having a few problems, he's going to have to do the Schengen shuffle. I just thought that was brilliant. So Pacentro Pete's doing a Schengen, what's the word? Schengen shuffle. I'll tell you all about that next week. Anyway, next photographs, sneak preview. Are you ready for this? This is this Saturday's property. This is in a place called Prezza. So from Prezza, it's a small village. It's beautiful. It's so picturesque. And there's a great bar in there. There's a pharmacist. There's a little shop. There's all the basics, that kind of thing. But you're 5 minutes from Raiano in the car. In fact, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that, from Raiano, where there's a train station and there's buses. Buses also pass through Prezza to take you to Sulmona, take you to Raiano and those sorts of places. It is beautiful. And I took this photograph because this here is the property that I'm going to show on this. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the price is 69,000. It's massive. And we're talking 6 bed. It's just this Saturday's property. Brilliant. I always get excited about them. This is Prezza. Look how beautiful the center is. And people say, well, where is everybody? Please don't say that anymore. It's a small village. It's beautiful. There's the most amazing, but look how people live here. Look how beautiful the town's kept. It's a small village. This is what I love, this kind of thing. The heartbeat of Abruzzo, places like this. But here, you're 2 minutes, you drop down the hill, 10, 15 minutes in the car, you're in Sulmona. It's brilliant. And this is, you actually see this from the motorway heading to Rome. So 5-10 minutes, you're on the motorway to go to Rome. Unbelievable. So sneak preview, spoiler alert. This is it. And it's in great condition as well. There's an old lady that lives here. While I was doing the video, I was puffing and panting away there because I'd done a little bit of walking before, which is very unlike me. And this lady's 90 odd years old and still lives there. And look at the terrace. You've got two, let me just tell you quickly. You've got a garage here. Yeah. Prezza was a big favorite among locals during discussions I had during this summer. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. You've got an unbelievable cantina area here that could be just something mind-blowing. If you saw Raiano, the property we did in Raiano with all the vaulted ceilings last week, this could be like that. Then you have something like 3-bed, Mike, Dave, you're also, it's kind of you. You've got something like 3 beds, I think it's 3 beds and a bathroom here on this level. And look at the balcony. With the views are unbelievable. Up here, then you've got another 2 beds, an amazing terrace and a kitchen and that kind of thing. And then it has another roof terrace here. It doesn't have a garden that belongs, but behind the house, there's like a little area where the old lady, she said it's been like that forever, where all the neighbors, everybody else used to do their allotments. It's like a steep little garden, but she's got tomatoes growing there. She's got it's unbelievable. And the views from this place are this. I mean, look how amazing that is. So you've got Pratola here, where you can get a coach straight to Rome. The Rome motorway runs sort of here. You've got Popoli, you've got Raiano at this side, and then over this hill, just over this hill to this side here, you've got Sulmona. Look at the views, 69,000 euros. You can actually move in as well. I'm not saying it's all completely finished. The scope for the restoration and everything else here, for what you could do, is just mind-blowing for that price as well. It's unbelievable. This then is where Pacentro Pete lives. This is Pacentro. Stunning place, beautiful place. Got a great apartment there as well for sale. This again is Pacentro. This is used in a lot of publicity. So this is that hill that was hiding Prezza. So Prezza, where I've just shown you, is there. This here looks probably like Raiano, possibly, or Vittorito. They're all in this sort of Val di Peligna. Superb. Then, to finish off with, this is Chieti. Pescara's more modern. Unfortunately, it was bombed in the war. Chieti was a free city. It wasn't bombed, and it's a great end to this video because this is a great town as well. And it's not a huge place, but it's well worth a view. And all these places, this is where we take you when we do the tours to all these places, not every single one of them, but the vast majority that I've shown you now, where we go on these tours, and then we take you out for dinner and all the rest of it. And it's just fantastic. So there you go. That's Abruzzo in a nutshell. You only need to come here. Look at this, 1 hour and 15. I've kept you all this time. Serious note. Whether you're living, whether you're holidaying, whether you're investing, for me, it has it all. And I genuinely mean that. And the only way that, you know, even if you've got slight doubts, and I can understand that. People think, yeah, but I've never heard it. There must be something wrong. There's got to be this. Come and see it with your own eyes. Join one of our tours if you can. It would be a pleasure to take you around and look you in the eyes once we've done these places, and you tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. People saying thank you. It's a pleasure. I love doing these things. I really, really love doing these things, and I will carry on doing this as long as I can. And that's hopefully going to be for a long, long, long time. Okay, guys, so you've had a sneak peek into Saturday's video. Keep an eye out for that Pretzel one because it is just unbelievable. But yeah, come and see us on the tours. Come and be part of this unbelievable place and be part of this unbelievable lifestyle. That's all I've got to say to you, folks. Thank you so much. Next week, meet the home buyers. Then we're into October's programs. October, I can't believe we're near there, but who cares? We're going to be together every week, and we're going to go through the whole of winter. We're going to get excited for Christmas. We're going to just have loads of fun. I mean it. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining once again. Thank you all for the support. I really, really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do, because it's a huge help. Please give us some thumbs up on the videos. Write some comments. It's all a huge help. And while ever you guys are doing this and showing your appreciation the way you do, we will just keep doing it and keep pushing away. If you're buying outside of Abruzzo, you know we're going to help. You know that I love the whole of Italy. There's just something I have too strong in my head and too strong in my heart for this place. Okay, guys. See you soon. See you next Thursday. Thank you so much.